If Donald Trump is the man behind the MAGA machine, JD Vance has got to be the man behind the American dream. Unfortunately for some, the American dream is dead. It died a slow, painful death at the hands of a greedy elite political class. To the hopeful, the American dream is alive and well, revitalized by the unlikeliest of stereotypes. A goddamn hillbilly. If you can imagine a hillbilly in the White House, then you have to know this is worthy of a closer look. Which is why in today's video, we break down the branding strategies JD Vance used to move from Appalachian hillbilly to White House material. When you examine the rise of these two phenoms, Trump and Vance, one thing is clear. These men are polar opposites, but this opposition shouldn't be underestimated. Like Captain America and his shield, their branding and messaging have perfect synergy. Together, they form an unstoppable force, a MAGA American dream that will not be defeated. On the one hand, Trump's brand is unapologetic. That's a big word. Unapologetically. On the one hand, Trump's brand is unapologetically loud, flashy, and polarizing, drawing power from his larger-than-life persona. On the other hand, Vance's brand is built on subtle rebellion and a deep, down-to-earth cultural connection, drawing power from his authentic story, Appalachian roots, to White House hopeful. So how did Vance achieve this remarkable transformation, and how can you apply these strategies to your personal brand? It all starts with a story, but a story on its own falls flat if you lack the ability to tell it in an engaging and relatable way. Vance did this with his memoir, Hillbilly Elegy. No, this doesn't mean you have to write a book to build a big brand, but it does mean you have to master the art of storytelling. This is where understanding the structure of a story comes into play. If we unpack Vance's story, we see that his life started with struggle, instability, and poverty. As he got older, he left this behind, joined the Marines, and began a journey of self-transformation. After the Marines, Vance faced even more challenges. He had to graduate Yale Law School while navigating his family's struggles with poverty, drug addiction, and abuse. He eventually overcomes his struggles and returns home to help as many people as he could by dedicating his life to being a voice of the people. If you look closely at the format of Vance's story, you'll notice a simple pattern that can be used to tell a very specific type of story over and over again. It's called the hero's journey. This is one of the most classic story arcs. You see it in Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, and all 34 Marvel movies. These stories follow a timeless structure. A hero starts as a struggling nobody, faces challenges, meets mentors, battles obstacles, and finally returns victorious. Yeah, battles obstacles. Vance used this framework to tell his story and craft a compelling narrative. His message was about overcoming the odds, escaping generational poverty, and the economic divide in America. This story turned Vance's struggle into a relatable brand, making his brand about more than just him. It was about a movement, a community, and a shared lived experience. This brings me to my next point. Once you understand storytelling and story arcs, you can use this formula to build and reshape different narratives about your brand or content. As Vance's brand grew and he stepped into politics, he crafted a new narrative, giving his brand a powerful entry point as an outsider. This narrative positioned him as the voice of a demographic that rarely gets the spotlight, America's working class, making him a beacon of hope for the forgotten ones. His voice became an essential element in the conversation about change and the well-being of all Americans, regardless of race, religion, or social economic status. When applying branding techniques to your career, business, or content strategy, it's important to remember a brand is a living, breathing thing that's vulnerable to external challenges. Shifts in market trends, new technologies like AI, or changes in consumer behavior will always present challenges that require you to adapt your brand narrative. Failure to adapt can cause your brand to get lost in all the noise, losing touch with the audience that you've worked hard to build. This means you need to understand how to continually craft and reshape your brand's narrative, especially if you're a newcomer or trying to break into a different niche or market segment. JD Vance demonstrated this by embracing the outsider narrative, giving his brand a powerful entry point into politics. By positioning himself as an outsider, he strengthened his connection with America's working class, turning his unique background into a significant advantage. To better understand how to craft and shape your brand narrative, let's examine how JD Vance leveraged the outsider narrative to gain support for his political campaign. First, although he no longer lives in poverty and has achieved significant socio-economic success, Vance continues to embrace his unique background. He stands out as an outsider in politics by openly sharing his experiences with poverty, family instability, and the daily struggles of the working class. When Vance talks about witnessing the opioid crisis firsthand or dealing with unstable family dynamics, he establishes himself as someone who genuinely understands the hardships of American people. This authenticity makes his narrative relatable, reliable, and trustworthy. Vance didn't get rich and switch. By embracing his unique background, he kept his brand aligned with the shifting values and concerns of his audience. Vance used his platform to voice the struggles of his fellow Americans, addressing issues like job insecurity, the opioid crisis, and economic inequality, reinforcing his commitment to representing the overlooked working class and keeping hope alive for those who still believe in the American dream. By leveraging this narrative, Vance strategically positioned himself as an outsider in politics, a much needed change to the current status quo. He wasn't a politician born and bred from the elite political class, but a representative made of the people, by the people, and for the people. This is branding genius. Vance made himself a symbol of a movement. People didn't just see their struggles in his brand story. They found hope and a sense of belonging, allowing him to build a strong cultural connection with his audience. But here's the key. This deep connection was only possible because of the authenticity of Vance's story and brand narrative. He did more than just write a story using a cookie-cutter story arc. Unlike most career politicians who manufacture personas or adapt fabricated narratives, Vance built his brand on his lived experience of the American dream. By sharing his real-life experiences, the hardships of growing up in poverty, and openly discussing his mother's battle with addiction, his raw honesty inspired hope and gained the trust and fierce loyalty of his supporters. This authenticity transformed his brand from just another story to a shared journey, a subtle reminder that the American dream is alive and well. Alright, let's get down to brass tacks. There are two types of people in this world. Those who struggle to stand out in a crowded marketplace, and those who lean into their flaws, struggles, and unique stories to build a trustworthy brand that resonates with their audience. So which one are you? Just imagine living the life of your dreams, embracing your authentic self, and creating a brand that truly connects with others. Remember, authenticity isn't something that you manufacture. It's a way of life and the key to building a strong personal brand, leveling up your career, or growing your business. JD Vance's brand story proves that by telling authentic stories and building honest narratives, anyone can create an influential brand that resonates. Now, it's time to share your story and create a brand that makes a difference. Leave a comment down below sharing something unique and authentic about your story. I'll go first. The American dream is alive and well. JD Vance proves it, and I was able to experience that for myself firsthand because I moved to the United States with basically nothing, $3,000, and I was able to build a family and a life for myself, starting from scratch in America as an adult. I ain't even born here. Gratitude is the attitude. Huge shout out to all of my subscribers. Shout out to my man Kevin. All the time you don't know, you large off. You my #1 supporter. Keep me on time, keep me on schedule. Big respect, brother. God shout out to a girl like Dana Bob, man like Tariq. Rest in peace, Andrew. Maximum respect.